This is going to be the finale of my Byzantium sacrifice build. I ran into some issues with it. My strategy that I came up with, I realized there's a big flaw in it. And I'm going to use cheats to show you guys the issue with the build. We continued this run and we actually were able to beat the Ottomans. We have insane warfare costs, so if we basically siege out 1 or 2 forts, which we did, then we could take all the provinces to form Byzantium. But I'm just going to use some commands to kind of, show you guys where we would ended up. We were going to be super overextended. Anyhow, let's just kind of like go through and use commands to show you guys why things are going to work out. And yeah, we'll just go from there. So skipping ahead to when all this cord, I just want to show you guys what the plan was. What I was going to do, after we record all the provinces, we're going to go ahead and seize Cholula once again, which was going to give us this Temple City of Cholula event. And that would allow us to convert to Orthodox, but then still have the event to switch back. That's the idea. You have to be Orthodox to form Byzantium. So then we would have gone ahead and just unstate everything. Once we had everything unstated, we would just want to state up some Greek land. And you can see here we can culture shift. It's kind of funny we're exactly 50%, so got some luck there, but we should be able to form Byzantium and hit yes, please. Now, the main issue I ran into is that when you do this, it makes you a monarchy. And even if I want to switch back to Theocracy, I can't really because I need to be able to pronar people. So that's the main mistake I ran into, is that I had planned to benefit from province warfare costs from Theocracy, but didn't think about that not working. That being said, the build would work until the age of absolutism. And there's a couple ways we can make the build work. It just kind of would take a lot more effort and it would require reloading previous saves and that sort of thing. So I wanted to show you guys just kind of what the build would look like here. So the plan was going to be to grab Nautil once again, and this would give us our Doom back and our, our reforms that aren't done, and that would allow us to pass our reforms. And I can see now we would have had to have a lot of admin because we actually have to, boost our stab up. And another thing is that our capital is in Constantinople, and so we needed to move it. Although an alternative to this would have been we could have given all our land to a Mesoamerica tributary and then annexed them. But anyhow, for this one, we'll oh, oops! I accidentally resumed the game, boys. That was a misclick. Well, I'm just gonna have to command to integrate them. I was gonna move my capital back, which we'll do now. But yeah, that one. Oops. Okay, yeah, that was not what I meant to do. I accidentally hit the resume button. But what I meant to do is grab the reform the Pronar system for client states, and then use whatever other reforms would be fine. Military engineering, restore the Senate, Nobles of the Robe is fine. This unique one's fine, I guess. I don't think I've ever used it before. Suppose we could take the Liberty Iron Subjects, tier 10. Is there anything better than that? I don't think so. So we'll go with Leviathan. Then we could go with the 5% war score cost, and finally political absolutism. So the plan would have been to just client state over here and separate our capital so we can move back to the New World. Just give everything to this guy here is fine. You gotta isolate your capital so you can get it moved. To unstate some of this land over here, and then move our capital back to Mexico, which would have been pretty expensive, as you can see. So then the plan was just to pass our reforms really fast with client states. And I probably would have had to have max admin points saved to do this, because I would need to stab up a few times. There's certainly ways I could have achieved this, but obviously the monarchy thing became an issue. So what I would have done, though, is just grant away 5 client states. Probably should have grabbed my diplomats, because that's going to be a problem. But yeah, the idea would just be make 5 client states so you can pass a reform. So pass our first reform, and then our Doom would go up a bunch. We still have our subjects, so we just need to essentially go through and demand sacrifices. Although, if I did this right, I would have had my diplomats ready to go. It actually might screw it up because my diplomats weren't ready to go. But we're just going to use a command to assume that I have my diplomats ready to go. So we'll just go ahead and just let the month tick for a few here. You can see, though, that the month ticks would be really insane. Actually, let's try to get it back to where it was. It was about 70-something. And this time we'll have our diplomats ready to go to show you guys what it would look like. So the idea was just like, okay, we're going to just go to each person and demand sacrifices. Demand sacrifice, demand sacrifice, and so on. I accidentally sent one of my diplomats to the wrong place. If you needed more sacrifices, you could just add new clients. Because we have a ton of land that we had from frontiering, so anytime that you want, you just get a new one, demand sacrifice, and there you go. We can pass another reform. Well, assuming we stab up. And, same thing again. Our Doom would go up a bit in the month. And we, we lost a bunch of those subjects from passing that reform, but again, you would just kind of go through and get new subjects that you can client state. So let's say we have 5 new clients, and again, just the same type of thing. Demand sacrifices. So you really shouldn't have any issue with passing the reforms. Just going through and demanding sacrifice from each different person. Next reform, we go to stab up. Now mission tree would turn into the horribly scuffed thing, but we should be able to now take a high American tech because, and the reason we didn't take it before, so I was wondering, if you were high American tech and you switch back to Nodule, you'll have all your reforms done, and that would ruin the ability to sacrifice. You cannot have reformed your religion and still benefit from that. Let's continue our reforms. We got 2 more to go, but just go ahead and make more clients. I already have enough subjects, but yeah, I probably need more clients anyways. And I just want to walk you through like how the strategy would have worked. Obviously, I didn't plan for the problems, and then we'll talk about a couple solutions to the problems, I suppose. Let's just go through and demand sacrifice from all these people. If I was smarter, I would have released them one at a time so the other ones wouldn't get upset when I demand sacrifice from the other ones. I probably would have done that in the actual run, but of course, we're kind of just going through and using commands here to conceptually show you guys. I could have just not made a video for this, but I felt like I owed it to you guys in a way to show you guys what I had in mind. Anyhow, so 4th reform. Again, just going through fast and doing this. So let's grab 2 more clients. Again, I probably could have been more optimal with this. It's just, I'm not bothering since it kind of didn't work out. Okay, so yeah, I would have passed my last reform. That would have been all good. And then my doom doesn't go up anymore. You can see here, it goes down by 1 a year. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and grab myself Malta just to kind of show you guys what the build was intended to do. Obviously, we wouldn't have needed Malta if Theocracy worked, so that's why we didn't have Malta. It wasn't really in the plan to begin with. I actually thought about switching back and forth, but you can't switch from monarchy to Theocracy because you can't access gov reforms. So yeah, a little bit of a unfortunate scenario, but I want to show you guys what this would have looked like. Let's target Lithuania for an example of how this could have worked. Let's clear ye real quick. Well, it doesn't really matter, I suppose. I'm just going to use commands, but who's a good target here? Let's actually show you guys against the France to show you guys the concept here. Why do I have Flower Wars versus France? I must border him somewhere. Probably in the New World, right? Yeah. So I'm going to show you guys what this could have looked like versus France. That should be fine. So let's say we Flower Wars France. Obviously, this would be a pretty hard war. We'd probably have to build up a bit before this, but again, I just want to show you guys conceptually what the idea was. So the idea would have worked something like this, where we take all his land but 1 province and then vassalize him. And then from there, we wait the month to pay off France's debt, which he's definitely going to like. And then maybe throw him a few placates as well. That's fine. And then we're going to land a pronar on him. And, we could sweeten the deal, dev him up a little bit if we needed to get the loyalty. But the idea from there is that we would retract right to inheritance. So maybe just have to butter him up a little bit. So retract right to inheritance. And the idea from here is just kind of giving his land back. We're just going through and granting him his provinces. And he actually is happy about that. His desire goes down. It'll go back up in a minute here, you can see. But my diplo rep will also be better when I'm not overextended. So you can see here, it kind of is going to fluctuate. Maybe we could grab strong duchies. It also doesn't help that I have these other subjects. We'll just keep going through and granting him his provinces, though. And France is obviously a pretty big target. It would be a little bit easier to do it with someone a little bit smaller. France is the kind of limit of what we could do. We use commands to integrate the other subjects, so it's not as scuffed here. So anyhow, given France back his provinces, and then it would just be a matter of having him sacrifice his ruler, and then you would inherit France. And that was kind of the concept behind the idea. And then, of course, you wouldn't have to corp any of the provinces. I think I forgot to grant a couple provinces away. That's what it is. But you can see that that would deal with the overextension issue, more or less. And you don't have to pay to core the provinces. And you're not going to have too many issues with the rebels, maybe a little bit. But when you integrate a nation, they're not usually that upset. You can see maybe just 1 unrest here. So that was more or less what I wanted to do. You can see here, though, we have 85% province force for cost. I wanted the build to have max province force for cost. With Theocracy, it did. So it's a bit unfortunate that you have to be a monarchy, and I didn't realize that was the issue. Now, a couple things you do to fix this, potentially, is go and form into the Congo first, maybe go and form into Jerusalem, and then get the Latin Empire ideas, and then form Byzantium, just to kind of stack up some province force for cost. But anyhow, I wanted to give you guys just a little bit of a finale, finish off the series. I didn't want to leave you guys hanging, wondering what happened to this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and catch you guys in the next one.